The Sierra Leone Civil War lasted for 10 years, 9 months, 3 weeks, and 5 days, according to Wikipedia. Many infrastructure were destroyed, including schools. Many Sierra Leoneans fled the country and are living abroad. Some are returning to help rebuild the country. My guest today, Bassi, is one of the citizens who are looking at the bright side and giving back to equip and develop the youth, the future leaders of Sierra Leone. Hello, welcome back to the Chronicles of an African Diaspora Nurse. Thank you so much for tuning in again. I have with me here Bassi, who has a very inspiring story. And I hope that by the time he finishes telling us his story, you will be inspired and hopefully you'll be motivated. So Bassi, welcome to the channel.
Hi, Rita. Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us your full name and where you are based, where you normally live, and where you are currently?
Well, my name is Bassi Kabo, and born from Guinea. And of course, I'm currently in Sierra Leone, but I live in Canada, in Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Thank you so much. Can you tell us how you ended up in Canada? You were living in Sierra Leone. And so how did you end up in Canada and what are you doing currently?
In 1999, after the January 6th invasion of Freetown by the rebels, that I fled to Guinea. And from Guinea, I went to Guinea-Bissau. Then from Guinea-Bissau, I traveled to Senegal. Then it was in Senegal that I was stuck. Stuck in Senegal, it was a little bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, it was worthwhile because that was the place that I got all the opportunities that I needed that led me to Canada today. Since 1999 that I entered in Senegal, I didn't leave Senegal until 2004, which was the ending of 2004. So for all those years, I trampled on a refugee resettlement agency called Sleeping Giant. They were sponsoring refugees from a small church, First Presbyterian Church. And it took us, a little bit of time before we get there. The September 11 that happened in the United States, changed everything about resettlement and all other things. So that was what delayed our travel. So eventually, I found myself in Canada, in Thunder Bay, Ontario. The first thing that really amazed me was my first job. It was a minor job, but it's a humble beginning. So it was a dishwashing job at the Confederation College at the cafeteria. So I love that job because it's not a difficult job. It's just that it's a dirty kind of job, but it's cool.
It's a means to an end.
Oh yeah. So, and the most important thing was that it was at a college. So the inspiration of getting back to school, took footing right from there. So I decided to upgrade. I went to the pre-health sciences, and fortunately, I met a professor that, we became friends, and of course, she helped me in so many things until I found myself at Lakehead University to pursue my degree program. So eventually, I graduated at Lakehead University with a degree in political science. Then I went to Wilfrid Laurier in Waterloo, Ontario, where I went for my master's degree in international relations. Then came back to Lakehead University and pursue my master's degree in education.
Yeah.
Then, of course, I went again to Niagara College where I pursue my certificate. It's a certificate, but it's a graduate certificate in human resources management.
Thank you so much for that. So you were resilient. And how was it like growing up in Sierra Leone?
Well, growing up was a little bit challenging, especially when you have to walk 4 miles to school, to walk 4 miles. Then after school, sometimes you go without lunch. So this was what inspired me to be a humanitarian in terms of education.
Yeah.
And I struggled to get mine. So I sensed that living in the West was like a smooth sail. And I thought it was that, okay, it's time to pay back.
You've actually answered my next question. I was going to ask you, what inspired you to give back? Because throughout the struggles, throughout the war, you had opportunity to escape and then ended up in Canada and having that education, having a job. I presume life in Canada was, and it's still, nice. Once you have a job and you have a roof over your head, you're comfortable. So at what point did you decide that I need to give back, or I'm going to do something to give back to Sierra Leone?
The inspiration came when this friend of mine called me. So when this friend of mine called me and told me, oh, there's a building here. If you watch how dilapidated it is, I mean, you will love to make a difference. Of course, the first thing I told them was I need pictures to prove that the building is in that shape.
Yeah.
So they sent me pictures. Then, of course, what I did was there was this lady who was the chairperson. She's late.
Yeah.
Was the chairperson of the group that sponsored us to Canada. So I met her and told her about the situation.
Yeah.
And of course, she welcomed the idea and started supporting me.
Yeah.
So that's how everything started. So the building was erected within a year in 2009.
Yeah.
So I traveled in December to come and open that school in Mabure village.
Okay.
It's about 30 miles from Freetown. It's in Waterloo.
So the school that you built in 2009 was the first project you did?
Yes, that was the first project.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so following on, what are the other projects that you are currently engaged in?
I came back in 2010. The desire was to construct another school at the same area, but we eventually moved to Kisii Town, where we saw, an immense need because at that time, it was a displaced area wherein the displaced Sierra Leoneans lived, and also it's a refugee area where the Liberians were hosted.
Okay.
So, and there was no school at that time within that area. So we saw the need and we came in and built our first building. It was a 6 classrooms building, a staff room and a store. And the building was just meant for primary so that, kids can have an access. But by the time we opened the school, the influx was too much. And people requested for secondary. And so eventually that building was used for primary in the morning and secondary in the afternoon.
Wow.
And up to this day, it's still, because as you continue building, as you continue building structures, more population. So still primary in the morning and secondary in the afternoon. Since 2010, we came and built another hall building. It's like 3 classrooms, but we use that the hall so that other functions can be performed so that the entire school can come in and but we use it as classrooms as well. So that was built in 2014.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, we came back and built another 5 classrooms.
Wow.
Yeah, so in 2021, 2022, we built another 8 classrooms this time. And it's amazing how, when you sacrifice yourself, the kind of people that comes to your aid. Because the 8 classrooms building was built by a single family. They sponsored the entire thing. Yeah. Of course, they don't like their names to be mentioned. Yeah. And of course, the one before the 8 classrooms was sponsored again by a single person. And he's more into sports as well.
Okay.
He sponsored the athletic activities. And the amazing part of things now is that we are building a vocational school.
So it's important that once you have that vision or that purpose that you need to fulfill, we call them helpers of destiny. You don't know where the help will come from. So it makes you wonder that if you had sat down in your comfortable house in Canada and just think about you, yourself, and family and just live your life, it means all these things, these schools that have been built, all these children that are attending the school are using the sports facilities, that wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
So it just goes to show that you just need to take that bold step. And, talking about this, I want to find out what challenges you faced on the ground in Sierra Leone.
When you talk about challenges, make no mistake, being an humanitarian is sacrifice. Mm-hmm. You have to sacrifice everything because it's not easy. You have to leave your family, which is one. Mm-hmm. You come to help other families. Mm-hmm. And also, there are times that I go without. Mm-hmm. Just because you, being a humanitarian, you try to push yourself too hard for others to benefit and you forget about yourself. Yeah. It happens to me several times. And the challenges on the ground, sometimes it's hard to just look at someone struggling and you say, no, I'm not going to assist this person. Yeah. When that person comes to you and cry for help.
Yeah. In terms of when it comes to building the schools, because of course you have to work with local partners, you work with people, you work with organizations, in terms of making sure that these projects come to fruition or they are completed. So in terms of the people that you collaborate with in Sierra Leone, where you are having all these projects, what are some of the challenges?
The good part of this entire project, there is a student that attended the high school and graduated, and of course, he's still trying to get all his subjects to go to university. Yeah. And one of his job is building. Yeah. And he learns it locally. Yeah. So he has been the one that we have been using to build all the other structures. Okay. So the struggle in terms of getting the local people to help is nothing because he coordinated everything.
So you have a reliable person.
Very reliable. Yeah. He has just been so wonderful in terms of coordinating the process.
In terms of funding, how did you go about funding this? You mentioned already that, you got some individuals who put the bills for some of the schools or they paid for the whole project. But apart from these individuals, how do you manage to get funding? Is it an issue?
Well, there is a struggle in getting funding, but the good thing is that I'm a Rotarian. Yeah. So you know about the Rotary Club,
Rotary
right?
Club, yeah. Okay.
So, yes. Like the first building was half sponsored by the Port Arthur Rotary Club in Thunder Bay. Okay. And that was how the first building was erected. Yeah. And all other, to complete the building was funded by different individuals, those kind of things, and churches will come in and this vocational building I'm building right now is being sponsored by another Rotary Club.
Okay.
In this time is in Toronto.
Okay.
And despite funds have gone down because of the increase in prices, because when we made a budget, prices doubled.
Yeah.
So now you find out that what the budget we made was just half of the entire project. So, but I'm still in Sierra Leone and I've been communicating with them, and they are fighting very hard for funding.
Okay.
So, talking about funding, I just want to say something here to all viewers that we are working on getting a vocational school built so that the dropouts will have an access to learn skills.
Yeah.
Because it's not everyone that will go academic.
Yeah.
Because one, the money, and two, some doesn't possess academic skills. So, but they possess these vocational skills where they can learn and make use of their talents.
How can you be contacted if anybody wants to support the project?
Well, I'm currently in Sierra Leone, but we have a website. It's www.cansera.org.
Okay, I'll add it to the description so people will see. What are some of the impact that you've seen due to the schools that you built?
So the impact is you making another person happy, when it comes to sports. Then when it comes to education, you make another person achieve. And that achievement is what really makes you fulfilled, because you've already put, like, how do they call it? Butter and bread in someone's table through what you did, through the educational background that you provided for the individual.
Yeah.
Now the individual can have a job and support his or her family.
Yeah.
So that's the fulfillment you get when you make a difference.
That's true. Thank you so much. Before you go, what message do you have for the African diaspora?
Well, I just want to tell all Africans living in the diaspora, I just want them to know that when you want to make a difference, one thing you have to put in mind is sacrifice your time, sacrifice financial things as well. Those are the things you need to sacrifice, time and money. But the good thing is the fulfillment that you get helping another person. Because if you focus on helping others for others to help you, then you are not going to achieve what you want to achieve.
Thank you. Thank you, Bassey, for coming and sharing your story. I hope that this story has inspired someone and hopefully it will motivate someone into action. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and until I see you in the next one, it's bye.